Hello and welcome to Take a Wander with Shebs. Now, my guest today is Germán de la Melena from NananTravel. Germán and I spoke live on my Instagram on June the 22nd, 2020 about his business NananTravel and why he decided to start this in Africa. Plus, we spoke about some of his adventures and what he has in store for in the future. So, let's take a look.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, Chefs. How are you?
I'm not too bad. How are yourself?
I'm very, very good. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. It's a pleasure, absolute pleasure. So, how is South Africa at the minute? How is Cape Town?
Well, Cape Town, it is a beautiful city. I just remember we are in winter and days are much shorter now, so it's quite dark and cold. But other than that, it's beautiful.
You've got your own business, and so we'll get onto that in shortly. But how did you end up in South Africa then? So, I mean, you obviously got into traveling and stuff. So how did the traveling aspect start with you then?
Well, I mean, it started when I was a kid. I was like traveling. I'm quite an older generation, so traveling was difficult in those times. But once we started, my father was transferred to South Korea, so we lived there for 2 years. We traveled around Asia. We were very lucky about that. And then when I finished university, I moved to Europe and first the States for modeling. And then I went to Europe and I did modeling for many years. So that caused me to travel around quite a lot. And then I happened to come to South Africa for modeling. And I really loved Cape Town. It was just stuck in my heart. And I came every summer. So European winter, I would just spend summer here working and then go back to Europe. And that's how they decided, no, I have to stop this and I have to live in Cape Town. So I moved to Cape Town and then looking to something to do for work, traveling seemed the most logical thing. And I started my travel agency.
What was it that caught your eye? Was it just the culture? Was it people? Was it the food? What was it that first?
Well, look, when you come to Africa, then you realize the connection with nature they have in general. I think not only South African people, but in general, it was very strange to see how people were taking care of plants or taking care of animals. Like I would scream, "Oh, cockroach, kill it!" and they'll be like, "No, take it out."
Yeah.
You know, it's very, very. People here in Africa are very connected to nature, which I really loved. But also, I mean, Cape Town is such a beautiful place, and when you do one safari, and then it's just mesmerized. And I really, really, I don't know, it just caught me, and I really love everything about Africa. Every destination you go to is just amazing. Each one has its own precious magic, if you want to call it.
Whereabouts in Peru are you from then?
I am from Lima.
Lima, okay.
I live, you know, Miraflores.
Yes, I know Miraflores very well. There's the big cat place, cat park, isn't there?
Oh, the cat park, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is quite funny. It wasn't that when I left Peru, which is many years ago, but then I remember one of my trips back to Peru, I see all these cats in the park, and I was like, what is wrong with these cats, you know? And it's actually become a cat park. It's very famous for all the cats that live in the park. Absolutely. Well, I live very close to that. Do you know that shopping mall on the cliffs?
Yes, I remember. Is that where it's got the Paddington Bear as well?
Yes.
So
I live 2 blocks from. I literally used to live 2 blocks from there. So because I live in South Africa, I organize trips for all of Africa. I mean, the places that one can visit, but I also do trips to Peru. I mean, I know Peru perfect.
When I went to Peru itself, I mean, I did pretty much not all the country, but I did from Lima. Then I went through to Puno. Then did the Machu Picchu trek, and so I have spoken about it.
Did you do the Inca Trail?
I didn't do the Inca Trail. The Inca Trail was something that I had to book months in advance, and with the way I book things, it's very last minute. So I found the Laris trek. Luckily, there was a few spaces left, so I booked that. Yeah. And the Laris trek was, I have to say, the Laris trek was unbelievable because, you know, you managed to have the entire trail to yourself, which was...
That's true.
I think that was pretty good because there was like 12 of us, and then you're climbing up and you think actually there's no other. And when I spoke to my friends on the other groups, they said there's like 500 people. So
it's 500 people a day. I organized my 40th birthday with friends. I'm not going to say how long ago. We were 20. So we were 20 plus we had porters and people that carried all the, you know, the kitchen stuff and everything. So in total, Our group was 35 people.
Okay.
We only saw other people on the second day at night. And then on the last night, yes, you sleep on the last campsite where everybody sleeps together. So then we saw a lot of people, but it didn't feel like a lot of traffic. It just felt quite nice. The thing was, we saw a lot of pre-Inca ruins on the way, which
Oh
is
yeah,
it's unique to that trail. But other than that, it's all good.
it was physically one of the most toughest thing I've ever done in my, because it was just the altitude at the time, trekking through. There's no, I mean, I got dehydrated as well as being hungry. Well, what happened was, because the Laris trek the second day, you leave the campsite around about 6 a.m. So you wake up at 5, have breakfast, leave at 6, and then they say it could take up to 7-8 hours, or depending on how quickly you go, to get to your next base, which is lunch. So I remember I only had, it was like a rookie mistake, I only had like a 2-liter pack. And if I'd known prior to it, if I'd done a bit more research, I would have maybe carried a 4-liter pack, you know, because you can buy these camel packs on the bag and stuff. So I only had like a 2-liter, and it wasn't enough. So obviously by the first stage I got to it, it was getting higher and higher. I drank way too much. I think I drank like the first liter, like
at the beginning.
Yeah, within like the first 2 hours. So that only left me with 1 more liter left, which wasn't going to be enough for the next 5 hours or whatever it's going to be. And then it was, because obviously the higher and higher you go, the more, you know, it gets more colder and
harder it gets.
But yeah, harder it gets, so you're drinking more. And then when you were going back down, it was getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And you're like, and you had to literally just take off your jacket, your jumper or sweater, and then you're literally sweating.
What's the highest you get on that?
So it was 4,800 meters.
Right.
So it's higher than the Inca Trek. So the Inca Trek is
the Woman's
less.
Pass. It's called the Dead Woman's Pass. It's 4,600.
That's correct.
Super cold.
Inca Trek is longer in terms of length. So you walk more, but it doesn't mean that you're physically going to be doing more. It just means that there's slightly more, straight walking or whatnot. But
no, absolutely.
I mean, I found it, it was physically one. But then once you got to the camp, I remember I dehydrated. But I've written it in my story, where the stupidity of drinking it all, and then once I got up to the top, thinking, oh, this is it, I forgot that we were going back down. So I drank almost all of my water, and then next thing you know, I'm walking down, and I'm really struggling. I'm like. And then I remember I saw a documentary a few years back where a really experienced hiker, died because of dehydration. So that came into my head, thinking, "Oh my God, I've got another 2 hours to walk down. Do I have enough water?" And then next thing you know, I made it down, and I was like to the porters, "Listen, quickly get me some water." And I think I drank. I mean, I must have drank like 2 liters within like two minutes. But that was dangerous actually, because my head was spinning. But that was the magic of Machu Picchu, because you're going to go through struggles of that. But I absolutely loved it. Which is why one of my questions is, I know you've obviously gone to Peru, but do you miss it on a daily basis, or is it because you've left there a long time ago? It doesn't really.
I left Peru a long time ago, so I don't know how to explain it. I miss going there for the friends and the family, but then it's been so long that when you get there, it's a very different situation than what you remember it used to be. So it's not like, look, I miss the food.
Yeah. Oh, the food is good. Yeah.
And I love Peru, and I will go as many times as I can, but I'm very, very happy living here. So, I just made it my home, Cape Town.
And how long have you lived in Cape Town for now, South Africa?
I've been here now for 11 years.
Oh, 11 years, okay. So you moved here back in 2009, was it?
2008, so this is going to be the 12th year. Yeah, I've been very fortunate to travel around Africa, and that's also another thing that when I started having the chance of creating the agency, because it just didn't happen like that. I mean, a lot of people started asking, like advice, or they were like, "Oh, we're coming to South Africa. Where should we go? Can you help us with the hotel? Which safari do you recommend?" So then I started thinking, well, I'm doing all this for friends. I should just do it as a profession.
Okay.
But that was also because I've been to these places, so I know exactly where people are going. Yes.
Is that how it started then, the agency? So you
Yeah.
started traveling yourself. You knew where to go, knew exactly what the hotspots were. Did you think, oh, I think there's a business here? Oh, it all
Absolutely.
started.
Well, actually, the first few people that I gave advice to come to South Africa, like Herman, I'm coming to Cape Town and I want to do a safari. So then I started telling them, and then they would tell me, "Oh my God, that was a great advice. We had so much fun. You should do this for a living." And
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
you hear that a couple of times, and you go like, maybe I should.
Obviously, still modeling at the time. So, how did you go
Well,
about sort of just saying to yourself, right, okay, I want to start a business, and I can do this on a full-time basis?
right.
And I'm assuming this was around about 10 years ago, 11 years ago. How long ago was it?
No. The agency started about 3 years ago, and I know it doesn't look like it, but I do still model sometimes. I'm just more selective with the jobs you do, and then also you can't go to castings to all of them, so the options for jobs are much less than before.
Yeah,
But my agency knows about it. My agency knows I'm busy with my own business, so
yeah.
if they send me to a casting and I can't go, they understand. So yeah, I mean it's quite easy to do both of them at the same time.
Okay. And what is so unique about your agency that would you give advice to people who wanted to go to Rwanda, Kenya? Would you give advice, or
Look,
was it just mainly South Africa?
no, everywhere. Like I said, actually, okay, what makes unique my agency is that I do it very personalized. Like I don't assign somebody to talk to my clients. I call them, I talk to them, I give them the advice that I know. For example, I went last year to Egypt because I wanted to start selling Egypt. So
Okay.
I didn't want to send people to Egypt without knowing the process of the trip there.
Yeah, of course.
So I've been to East Africa, I've been to all of Southern Africa. So when people say to me, Herman, we want to go to Africa and we have 10 days, what do you recommend? So I call them, we have a chat, and it's always how many days, how many people, and what's your budget. And according to that, we can organize a very, very nice trip adapted to what they were looking for and what they can afford. So yeah, I think that's what separates me from any other agency. From day one, they have my number and they contact me on WhatsApp. So the whole planning is on WhatsApp, and then once they get here, I'm available on WhatsApp for anything. Come on,
Oh, wow.
we're very tired after the tour to Cape Point, but which restaurant do you recommend? Or
Okay.
anything. Or we want to go to a bar, which is a nice bar, and we like 90s music. So then I go like, you need to go to this bar. So I'm always available 24/7. Even last January, I was in Vic Falls, and my
Yeah.
clients happened to be in Vic Falls at the same time, and they were calling me while we were both in Victoria Falls to get advice. But I had another family here in Cape Town, and I was available. They could reach me even when I was there. So always make sure that they're okay. I contact them in the morning and say, "Are you okay today? What are you going to do? What are your plans for dinner?" I just like to make sure they're having a good time.
What I like about what you've just said about your business model is you've got that personal touch. So if I needed you, I said, "Oh, listen, Herman, where do I go? Where can you get the best food?" You're there going, right, okay, I know this place, I've eaten there. And
Right.
that is actually more unique than speaking to a travel agent, that has never been,
Or
only
even
going off research, really.
yeah. Or even doing TripAdvisor. I mean, you're going to go on
Yeah.
TripAdvisor and search for best restaurants in Cape Town, and they're going to give you a huge list, and you can look at all
Yeah.
the stars. And then after that, you have to make a decision on which one you're going to go to. But with me, like, you just call me and say, Herman, we want a fancy dinner. What restaurant do you recommend? So I'm like, look, my favorite is this one, and I think you're going to love it. But if not, you can go to this other one, which is also nice, So I sometimes feel that my clients get annoyed because I'm on WhatsApp asking them if they're okay. So I've
Okay.
learned to not be too pushy, but they
Yeah.
know that I'm available for anything they want. It's one of the great things about this is most of my clients go back home and we're friends.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I get a lot of times my clients go like, "Oh, join us for dinner, or come with us for drinks tonight, or let's do breakfast tomorrow before we leave." So it becomes a nice relationship. So
Well,
I'm quite happy with it.
people that have told me when they've traveled, it's all about connecting with people around the world. And
Yeah.
I do it as well. When I go to and I book things with agencies locally, I want to become friends with them and talk to them and stuff. Only because they know the country well. You can get a lot of history lessons. They can tell you where to go, all that sort of stuff. You're not going to get that from an agency, an agent here. You see, let's just say in your own country and stuff. And I think that's more. That's
Absolutely.
very unique and stuff regarding it.
Yeah, no, I'm very proud of what I do. And like also, most of my clients are from Peru or South America. So my guides are Spanish speaking as well.
Okay.
I can tell you stories, but for example, one that I'll never forget, and it's actually on my YouTube channel. I interview them after their trip.
Okay.
They love the guide. They fell in love with Alicia. She's from Argentina.
Oh, well. Okay.
Because the couple was a Peruvian, Spanish-speaking girl and an American guy. So Spanish and English. So Alicia was perfect. She spoke Spanish and she spoke English, and she took them around for all the tours. They love her, and they really liked me. So I went with them to Lion's Head, and then we went to do SUP, the stand-up paddleboard. And Alicia, then later on, she calls me, the tour guide, and she says, "Herman, the guys have invited me to dinner. Are you going to come with?" So I go like, "No, they haven't told me anything." She goes, "No, but they were planning, and they were saying they were going to call you, and I was going to come to dinner. So instead of going to a restaurant, I invited them to my house." So we all went to her house for dinner, to the tour guide's house for dinner. I mean, these guys were blown out of their mind. They couldn't believe how much fun they had in Cape Town. So that, for me, that's the type of approach I give to my clients. A lot of clients are not willing for that. They're not interested, so they want to keep we keep our distance and they do their own thing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But like I said, I'm always available.
And what sort of, let's just say, for example, I was looking at with a friend, for example, going to Kilimanjaro, and I was looking at going to the impenetrable forest. If I was to come to you and say, "Listen, I want to do Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda. I've got 4 weeks. Maybe do Tanzania as well."
Yes.
Can you come up? Is there like a package deal you could do, or how competitive are you with other?
I don't do package deals. Like for example, a lot of people ask me and say, "Can you send me an itinerary? Or can you send me a package? Do you sell packages?" When they say East Africa or Kenya and Uganda for $5,000, for example, right? I don't do that, but I can. My suppliers will give me a package, which means that you and your friend will join a group at a certain price for a certain amount of days. But what I like to do is personalize the trip. So you tell me, "Herman, I want to do Kilimanjaro." For example, there you will have to join a group, because to go on your own, it's quite expensive. But then you join a group, so you can do the 10 days or the 7 days or the 5-day hike, And then after that, I'll be like, "Okay, so after that, you go alone and then do Serengeti and Ngorongoro, which are the typical safaris that people do. And then you go to Uganda to the gorillas. And then, for example, Zanzibar to the beach, to spend a few days on the beach, So I like to organize things according to what the clients want to do. As much as private as can be, because it's obviously much nicer. But also, like I said before, it depends on the budget. East Africa, it's quite expensive. And 4 weeks, it's a long time. And most of the trip around East Africa will be full board, because you're going to very secluded places. But it is an amazing place to go. The impenetrable forest that you're talking about is in Uganda, where you see the gorillas. That I did it last year. Like I said before, I like to know the destinations where I send people to. So I haven't been to Uganda, and I went to see the gorillas. Mind-blowing experience. Absolutely a must for everyone that loves wildlife. It's beautiful. But yeah, and then you do Kenya. So the funny thing about Kenya is that Kenya doesn't have as many national parks to do safaris as Tanzania. Tanzania is the one country where everybody goes for the migration, and it's got 10 national parks. And part of Tanzania is Zanzibar as well, so you can go to the beach.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty complete country, Tanzania, right? But yeah, a trip to Kilimanjaro, the gorillas, the safaris, and then the beach. It's the perfect African dream.
So you could literally plan to the T. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
what
no,
about
correct.
things like, let's just say, also someone likes to be like myself, who likes to be spontaneous at times and
Hmm.
go with the flow. You know, I say to you, right, Haman, can I give you a call in a couple of days' time after I sort of have a feel? I can do that as well.
It is a bit more complicated in Africa,
Okay.
especially. If, for example, I was going to suggest about Cape Town. When you come to Cape Town, you have to book a restaurant 2 or 3 months in advance because
Oh,
the
well,
good
okay. Yeah.
restaurants, especially in high season, which is summer, everything's booked. So I tell my clients, I say, please book at least a month in advance. Here's a list of restaurants. And sometimes they don't book. And then they come here and they go like, oh, but I didn't book. Where should I go? And I call the restaurants and be like, okay, there's space on these at these restaurants so you can go. It's the same for safaris because you're going to safari lodges, which are away from
Yeah.
the city. It's not like you can be in one place and then say, oh, you know what? I'm bored. I'm going to go tomorrow to this other place and see if they have accommodation. So it is very, very recommendable to book in advance,
Okay.
especially the safari sections. I mean, for example, the gorillas is the same as the Inca Trail. You need to buy your
Yeah.
permit for the gorillas at least 6 months in advance.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
Okay. Ooh.
yeah,
So that will
because they
leave
have
me.
no. But look, with this situation, I mean,
Yeah.
with the crisis, I'm trying to book a place for the flower season here in Cape Town when spring.
Okay.
North of Cape Town, there's this plains of flowers. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. I haven't been able to go yet, so I'm trying to book, and everybody was telling me too late because everything is fully booked a year in advance. There's a lot of availability right now, so I'm sure the gorillas will be the same.
Since tourism has completely shut down, I mean, I'm assuming your business has sort of had a massive effect on that. And
It's dead, yeah.
I mean, do you employ people? Has it sort of has it had a massive effect? Do you have you had to sort of let people go, or
Well, no, very lucky because I do. I mean, I have a supplier that does,
okay,
and then the tour guides I hire them. So I have 5 or 6 tour guides that work for me, but they
okay,
also do their own independent work. So it's not like they are under my salary.
okay, yeah,
So lucky, very very lucky for me. I haven't had to fire anyone, or I still don't have to pay salaries through this period of time. Otherwise, I wouldn't survive, and which is what
of
unfortunately is
course, yeah,
happening to a lot of travel agencies are
of course.
going through this issue. They either have to fire people or they just have to close.
Anyone listening now, so if any, when Africa opens up, call Herman. He's your man to go to. And I mean, I
Absolutely, thanks.
also say support the independent businesses. That's what I say. The bigger
Thank you.
businesses will survive, of course. Well, I say survive. There's going to be struggles in terms of maybe letting people go, but they're big enough. I mean, they'll
Yeah, yeah,
survive.
yeah.
So, but
No,
yourself, I
but
mean, you're a small business.
right.
I think it's important that people come to you.
Thank you. Yes, please do. No, but I mean, even for example, I'm not going to say names, but one of the biggest travel agencies in Africa, I heard they had to let go almost 30% of their staff. So I think what is happening now, I don't want to call myself as a small agency. It's just I keep myself small because I want to be very personal against the middle ones, the little travel agencies that were working fine and they probably had like 10 employees or something like that. Those are the ones that really struggle and they're going to have to close. But the big ones will just reduce their staff, which they'll get back again when everything starts again. But I think the one in the middle is the one that's going to really, really struggle.
When you get time to travel yourself, let's just say out of Africa, you can still obviously work from anywhere. So
Yeah.
I guess you can take your work remotely anywhere, can't you? So I
Oh,
think
I'm still in touch with everyone. Look, last year like I said, I went to Egypt for 10 days and I did have clients coming to Cape Town. I do tell them, I said, look, I'm unfortunately the days that you're here, I'm going to be away, but here's my number. I'm going to be reachable on WhatsApp for anything you want. And here's the number for the guy that is going to take care of you during the trip. So if anything happens, she can contact me or you guys can contact me directly. I mean, I was in the pyramids taking photos of beautiful pyramids, answering WhatsApp to my clients here, So
yeah.
my friend that I was with was like, what are you doing? I'm like, this is a client. He's asking me something. But
course,
it's part of the job. And I really don't mind it. I like sharing what I know and I like making sure that people will have the greatest experience. So, for example, this restaurant is my favorite, right? The Potluck Club. So I tell people you have to go to the potluck club, and this is mistake I did at the beginning. I was saying you have to, and then I would get angry if they didn't, because I'd be like, "Why didn't you go? It's the best restaurant." So now I've learned to give my advice and tell them I really think you should go, and if they don't, it's their priority, so it's absolutely fine. I know I did my best, right? That's how I see it.
The name itself, where did the name come from?
Okay, so I was thinking of names for the company, of course, and I can't use my name because Herman is spelled like German. So it's spelled like German. So for the English speaking, will be confusing because they would be German travel, and they think I'm either just for the German market or sending you to Germany. So I remember that when I was a kid, I couldn't pronounce my name, so instead of Herman, I would say Nanan.
Okay.
I have a few aunts that still call me Nanan. So then I thought, okay, this makes sense. It sounds quite nice, and it's actually a visually nice word. So I thought, well, there you go, NananTravel. So
it's as simple as that, isn't it? Where it's something that you called yourself when you were a little kid, and next thing you know, you got a company named after it. So
it actually, you know what, it makes me think that I should have changed my name to that a long time ago, because I've struggled with my name so much through all my life. Because traveling as a model, I went to English-speaking countries, or even if it wasn't a Spanish-speaking country, they would struggle to pronounce my name, especially if they read it. You know, when you read my name, it says German. So I was like, why don't I just call myself Nanan? But anyway, too late for that now.
Well, it's I guess it's your business name, isn't it? So if anyone needs to, they'll know you automatically. Oh yeah, NananTravel, it's your travel. So what else do you like to do to sort of relax? Do you sort of go out to dinner? Do you go to the gym?
Obviously,
and stuff?
I look, if I give you my routine, because I'll wake up, I'll go to the gym, because like I said, my clients are in South America, so I'm not busy until 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 4. I am planning whatever I have to have for my clients, but I'm waiting for them to wake up. So I go to the gym, I do a bit of work, and then I'm busy with them. But like I said, I go to the gym outdoors. I'm in Cape Town city, surrounded by mountains, or I could say the city surrounds the mountains better, because we're literally, that's what we do. And then you have the ocean, right? You have the Indian Ocean, and you have the Atlantic Ocean. So there's so much outdoor activities to do. It's quite incredible. I mean, hikes. I can literally from my apartment walk up to Lion's Head without having to get in a car. So outdoors is great, and I love the beach. I'm 100% a beach bum.
You're a beach
so
man.
This is the perfect city to live. You know, you have the mountain, you have the beach, you have great weather year round. Even though I just complained that it's cold, but it's winter. So yeah, I would say my hobbies would be traveling, outdoor sports, and yes, dining out for sure. We're very lucky about food in Cape Town for sure.
Where would you say you've been to so far then, in Africa or anywhere in the world?
Okay, I always say my 5 favorite cities in the world are obviously Cape Town. I love Vancouver. I think it's an absolutely beautiful
Vancouver,
city.
Yeah.
I love Rio, but I have to be honest, it's because the beach side of Rio, Ipanema and Copacabana, is just magic. I love Zurich. Zurich is a very, very beautiful city. Yeah. And Cusco.
Okay,
I think Cusco is an absolutely beautiful city. It's too bad that it's so high in altitude, because I mean you can't walk for 20 minutes because you're out of breath. But I mean, those I always say are my favorite cities. But I'm quite curious about Norway.
Cape Town. I absolutely loved Cape Town when I came. You know, I think I came in September as well, and it wasn't as busy as this is, because your summertime is, you're talking October, November, December, isn't it?
From November to March, April.
Right. Okay. So it wasn't as busy. So when you were saying earlier that you have to book restaurants and stuff, I didn't have that issue, and you know, I went to some really nice restaurants and stuff. But the others that you mentioned, Vancouver, Rio. I mean, I was in Vancouver last year and stuff, and for the first 3 days, I remember it rained non-stop. You know, it just did not stop raining and stuff. So I mean, that took a little bit of gloss off the place, but nevertheless, it was still a very nice city.
I was very fortunate. I was there for a week, and it didn't rain a single time. And my friends in Vancouver were like, it usually rains all the time. So you were very lucky. I mean, I had a great time. It was fantastic.
Rio, I said it's a city where you have to go at least more than once in your life, because you can go to some countries and some places, you know, maybe once and say, you know what, I've got a feeling there, don't we? But Rio, there was just, as you just said, the beach, the people. You know, if you're quite a religious man, all you have to do is look up and the Christ is up there. You can put your prayer through and stuff. And the favela as well. I mean, it was just something incredible.
It's Rio's full of surprises.
I mean, it was surprising because I stayed right by Copacabana Beach, and at night time, all of a sudden, you don't see them during the day. People who are living on the streets will just appear from nowhere, and you're like, where were all these people? Where were all these people all this time?
True.
They just literally flock the street, and it's like, my God, you know, I didn't think it was that bad. But then
I stayed in Ipanema.
The favelas, it's even worse.
Right. I stayed in Ipanema, which is like next door. You literally walk a few blocks, turn around the corner, and there's Copacabana. And it's the same. Ipanema is not as bad, but then we went to Copacabana, and then we ended up having dinner there. And on the way back, what you said, all the street people were just like all over the place. And you just go like, where were they when we came here? You know, it's quite crazy. No, but what I wanted to comment about my favorite cities is I could live on any of those cities because they are absolutely beautiful, but all of them have one thing or something that I don't like. For example, Vancouver is the rain or the cold winters and short days. Okay. Zurich the same. Ipanema Rio is way too humid. I mean, literally there it's too humid, you know, and Cusco is the altitude. But I have to say, thinking about it, I do love Chicago, but it's also a very cold city in winter. Yeah. Have you been?
I've been to America, but I've not quite been to that part of America as of yet.
Chicago is my favorite city in the States. In the States, I've been to San Francisco, San Diego, LA. I mean, almost all over. And Chicago would be my favorite one of all the cities in the States. But again, winter is super cold and windy, so that's a no-no.
You must have tried the food in every places that you've been to. Well, what would you say? I mean, can you pick your favorite cuisine? Because I know you said you love your food in Peru. You can't really pick one, can you?
I can't pick a favorite. Look, the problem is that, first of all, if you love food, how can you pick one specifically? Yeah. I mean, I love Cuban food, for example. It's not a very popular thing to find around the world. But I lived in Miami. I lived in Miami for a year, and I mean, believe me, they call it moros y cristianos, which is simple white rice with beans, black beans. Love it, you know, and I could just eat that all day. Picadillo and all that, but I love Indian food, Peruvian food. I mean, no, I can't pick one specifically. Maybe a specific dish from each cuisine. Maybe I could go with that, but don't tell me I have to pick one because it's impossible.
I love food myself. I can eat any cuisine from the world, you know. One thing that really disappoints me when people go away somewhere, let's just say they're from the UK, and they go to, let's just say, South Africa or Peru, and they don't try the food and just stick to maybe burger and fries and stuff. I mean, it's not annoying, but why would you go all the way there when you know you can get burger and fries in the UK? Anywhere. Why would you not try at least? It's just it baffles me sometimes.
I agree with you. Look, I'm very complicated with food because there's certain things I won't eat, you know, like brains or stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
I'm willing. Look, there's people that will eat anything. My mother was like that. My mother would try anything. When we traveled through Asia, she ate scorpions and crickets and all of that. And she was like, "Here, come on, try one." I'm like, "No, I'm not trying it." But I'm willing. I want to try what they have. You know, what I will eat from what they have, I'll try it. But yeah, I don't understand people that don't. South Africa, for example, has the mixture of what they call the Malay cuisine, which will become curry and all of that traditional Indian type of cuisine, and then they have what they call a braai, which is a barbecue. Afrikaans love to do barbecue. I have to say, they know how to cook meat. It's the best meat I've ever eaten. It's here. All of them, they braai and they make their meat and it's perfect.
I mean, I remember I went to, I think it might have been Outshon or Stellenbosch. It was one of those places. Yeah. I ordered a chicken platter or something. And when the plate came out, I swear there must have been enough chicken for maybe 4 people. And I looked at it and I said to the waitress, "Oh my God, is this all for me?" And she went, in South Africa, our men eat a lot. So I was like, and you see the South Africans when I've you watch the rugby players or you watch the cricketers, and they're big guys, but they're not overweight or anything. But they're just really strong, aren't they? And I think she was saying they eat a lot.
They're Dutch descended, and like I said, they live with eating barbecues. So it's all meat and meat constantly, all the time. I'm not a big red meat eater, but I have to say that when I eat it, they know how to cook it very well. Unfortunately, I don't know, so I'm happy they do.
If you were to go outside of Africa, where would you go back to Peru for a bit, or to see your family, or?
And my brother came with his family, which is 2 kids and his wife, and they were locked here during lockdown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there's really no need for me to go to Peru to see my family. If I were to choose where to go freely, like I said before, I want to go to Norway. There's something about Norway that it's got my attention for the last year. But I also would probably want to go to Indonesia. My other trip that I really, really want to do is Madagascar.
Oh, Madagascar's on my list as well. Yeah, I had a friend that went there a couple of years ago, and I think the type of, they went. There were a couple, so when they went, I don't think they booked. This is where they probably should have spoken to you, because when they booked it through an agency, they didn't really talk about what she'd like, what he'd like, and what he'd liked was something that he liked it, living it rough, living like a local. What she liked was like a hotel, flashy sort of.
Madagascar, you have to be very, very careful where you booked and where you end up staying, because unfortunately it's a very, very poor country. Yeah. Really bad connections. So you have to be very careful how you move from one place to another. And it's such a big island. I think it's the 4th biggest island in the world. So to move from one side to another, you have to plan very, very well your trip. And this is the one thing I say, Madagascar, a 4-star hotel is more like a 3. So you always have to book 5 stars. You have to book 5 stars because there will be 5 stars luxury or the normal 5 stars. Unless you want to go rough, which is, your priority, but then rough is really, really rough. You have to be careful what you eat with the water and all that. And then the heat and the mosquitoes. It is a very, I don't want to say dangerous destination because it sounds horrible, but it's a destination where you have to be very well prepared and to know where you're going.
With me, it's always the urge. I have an urge to go somewhere. Is that the same with you, where it's like I feel it? Like, as you were saying, you were feeling Norway. You don't know why. That is exactly the same with me. I might be thinking about Uganda or Kenya, and then literally before I go, I'll be like, no, I've changed my mind. I really want to go to, I don't know, Tanzania. It just comes that, but I think that is better than you've booked something months ahead.
That's if you can manage to travel to places where you can just go. That's the thing that happens when you live in Europe and you're used to just pop in a plane and go somewhere. And then when you get there, you say, I'll find accommodation. See, Africa, you can't really do that. In Peru, we have a saying that is called the 3 B's. So in Spanish, it's bueno, bonito, y barato. They all words that start with B, which means good, beautiful, and cheap. Right? So I always say in Africa, you get the 2, which is good and beautiful, but you don't get the 3rd B because it's cheap. The 3 of them don't go together. But in Europe, you can get that, and most of the world. So unfortunately, when it comes to Africa, you have to say, okay, I'm going here, and you have to stick with that and plan in advance. But Europe, last year I went to Europe, and I was in Barcelona, and I thought, okay, I'm going to go spend 10 days in Norway. Because like I said, it's been stuck in my head. But then I went to Egypt, and then on the way back, I was like, no, I'm going to stay in Barcelona with my friends. So at the end, I didn't go. So it's still something I want to do.
So your agency, you've got that agency where you book things, and you have to within Africa. But this is why when I was asking you earlier, could I just say to you, oh, Rahman, I've changed my mind here. Could you sort something else out there? I know you said it's slightly harder for you and stuff, but I think that's one of the beauties. Yeah.
Yeah, remember that couple I told you that ended up having dinner with the guide, and I would join them, and we went to do all this stuff together. They came for 7 days, and then they ended up staying 12 days. So they called me and they said, we want to stay longer. Can we extend the hotel? So I called the hotel. The hotel said, yes, it's fine. So then luckily they wanted to stay, not go somewhere else right away. But then, if you do changes like that, it can be organized, especially if you're already in a hotel. You can be like, oh, my client wants to stay 2 more nights, or tonight they want to go somewhere else, so those type of things. Yeah, but to actually be like you said, I'm going to Uganda, and then change your mind the day before and be like, now I'm going to go to Tanzania, because also you have to book in advance and deposits are not returned, blah blah blah, all that. It's a bit complicated. Yeah. But look, if you can travel and be spontaneous and get on a plane and go somewhere just because you decided, it's fantastic.
You got to be very smart as well. So, for example, I know when I went to Zimbabwe, you need a visa and stuff on arrival. So, certain places, of course, like India, you need a visa prior to going. China, you can't just book. So, you got to be very smart. But saying that, I mean, I've had trouble. I booked the China visa literally days before I went, India visa days before I went. But it can be done. But you don't want to go. You don't want to be in that situation where you're sweating, thinking, "My goodness, am I going to get my visa before I fly out and stuff?" So,
or are they going to give it to me? You'd like.
Well, that's the thing, you see. So it's never guaranteed either. So they might say we're rejecting it because, I don't know, there's something wrong with your application and stuff. So you've got to be smart as well as obviously when you're doing something spontaneously. So, but no, I think that's part of traveling. I think so.
Absolutely.
As I said to you, the urge as I'm just talking to you, you've got that urge. You want to go for it. I always say, if you want to go, just go for it.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, the best way to spend money is traveling.
Oh yeah.
I will save my money to be able to travel before I think of buying a car. That is just, I mean, to spend money in a car for me is throwing money into a metal box. But to travel is just the experiences you get. I mean, it's everything. For me, just traveling. See, when I was finishing high school, my choices for jobs, for careers, were always which career will allow me to travel. That's what I wanted to do. It's like any career that will allow me to travel, that's what I want to do. So obviously things change. You never know what destiny you have. And then I ended up modeling and traveling everywhere, which never planned it. It just happened. So it was perfect. And now here I am in South Africa with a travel agency.
One of the things it does affect is maybe your love life, or you might. But then when you're traveling, you don't really care about all that sort of stuff, do you? Because all you think about is because you're with people and they become like your family, don't they?
And then you have all these new people you meet, all these new experiences will take that. Also, I mean, hello, we don't need to be obsessed with being in a relationship, but the good thing would be to find somebody that was willing to travel with you. Yeah. The difficult thing is that has the time to travel as much as you. Yeah. But I mean, it's perfect when you find that person that is willing to travel, that is as interested as you are in traveling, and is as curious as you are to go to many different destinations, because there's also the people that like to go to the same place all the time.
Thank you for coming on, and you have me as a friend forever. So, and I will call you when I come
to South Africa. Or anywhere in Africa, you must call me, and I will help you as much as I can.
And you can find Herman on, just tell them where you can find.
Well, I'm on Instagram with NananTravel. I'm on YouTube channel, also NananTravel. Facebook, everything is NananTravel. Pinterest, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook.
And Twitter as well.
I'm happy to organize Twitter as well, yes, NananTravel. Everything is NananTravel. Very simple. So yes, contact me, follow me, subscribe, whatever it is.
Right, Herman, thank you very much. And when I'm in Africa, I'll be calling you up.
I'm looking forward to that. Thanks so much, Hips.
No problem. Take care. I'll speak to you soon.
Bye-bye.
I thoroughly enjoyed my talk with Herman, and I hope you enjoyed listening to it. And don't forget to follow him on all of his social media platforms, which are on your screen now. That's it for Take a Wander with Shebs. Hope to see you all very soon. Until next time, bye for now.